Mandos, this is the way. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mandalorian, the X-Wing Jesus. You're watching, let's start that again, shall we? I got that completely wrong. I went into host mode and I introduced the show. Right, so we are Bad Batch Catch-Up. Right. Hello, welcome to the show. You're watching Mandos, the Bad Batch Banter Catch-Up. And we're going to be looking at episode 3 today. I'm your host, Mandalorian, the X-Wing Jesus. And with me today over there is C3 Barlow, human cyborg relation of a protocol droid.
Howdy, mate.
Good, brilliant. Okay, right, so episode 3 of the Bad Batch tonight. So this is, well, we're recording Friday night, and then this will get uploaded Saturday night, and then for everybody else on Facebook, that's Sunday. So hopefully a few people have watched it by the time this goes out. I'm going to, obviously, spoiler alerts galore for this one, so don't
We have no filters.
That's the premise of the program as we discuss in the episode. So, all right, so what do you think of tonight's episode then, Alan?
It was a bit of a letdown after the first two.
Yeah.
Every season has them, but I think it was a filler episode. Nothing really progressed apart from a few extra new characters being introduced. But did they do much? No.
I think they're going to be cannon fodder, really. From what we saw, you know, it didn't take too long for Crosshair to dispatch one of them, did he? He went, to be fair, he just did not know what the Empire was going to be about and questioned it. And that was it. That was it for him. Game over. And the others were like, oh, we've got to follow orders or...
that'll happen to me, yeah.
Yeah. But, what a choice to make, you know, sort of, you know, learning the hard way. We're conscripts. We're an elite squad led by a clone trooper. And wow, you either kill these civilians or I'm going to kill you. You're like,
yeah.
Ooh, crikey, that was pretty mental, weren't it? So, weirdly enough, that's all come from Admiral Rampart. He's the one behind introducing all these chain codes that they introduced into the story last week. So, we're now getting to sort of like see his character. And there's a name that come up in that episode. I don't know if you're aware of that. Project War Mantle. Did you catch that?
No, I missed that completely.
Yeah, so that came up in Rogue One, you know, where they're in the library looking for Stardust.
Oh, right, yeah.
One of the tapes that she pulls out is a war mantle. So there you
go. That's cool.
I didn't know that. I have looked that up. It wasn't one of those ones where I just went, I've heard that name before. I thought I had heard it before, but a little bit of research and yeah, that's where that one came from. So it's actually pretty cool. We're finding these little bits and he's attaching them to the storyline, you know, the larger storyline out of the Bad Batch. So
I mean, it's definitely Filoni just does that kind of thing great. No matter where it's come from, he can tie everything together.
Yeah.
And really creates this expanded world where everything links.
It enriches the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got... my brain wasn't working properly when I was watching it. And when those 4 new Death Troopers, I'm going to call them, when they turn up, these elite ones, I was thinking Inferno Squadron. But then I was trying to work out the timings and would it have been in at the right time for them?
Yeah, well, I think there's at least 20-25 years.
Exactly, yeah. I quickly twigged on that.
But that is the start of, you know, the elite special forces. So what we've seen is the Bad Batch. They're in sort of mostly black armor with red. And what we're seeing is a progression with War Mantle is clones, a mixture of clones and conscripts in elite, being trained up to be elite soldiers. So like you're saying, that's pretty cool. That's the start of Death Troopers and Inferno Squad and all of this sort of stuff. So it's it's quite exciting. Although not a lot happened in that episode, there was quite
No,
a few things, subtle things going on in that episode as well.
yeah. I mean, we've had it before in Rebels where Sabine and Hera went to meet Fulcrum or their contact, and then you had those beasties come out when the sun went away,
Yeah.
went down, So it's just the same episode again.
Yeah, I thought it was ice spiders. When they landed, I was just like, oh, here we go. It's going to be spiders or something. But actually, there were quite a few nods to Empire Strikes Back, where they come out and they're in the respirators, and you're thinking, this is kind of like where they're in the belly of that giant space worm.
Yeah.
They're out there,
yeah.
and everything. There was echoes of that. We also had, it was kind of a bit like Alien as well, with we're looking around and there's those sort of tubes, but they kind of looked egg-shaped, but I'm sure they weren't hatching anything. Otherwise,
No. It seemed like it was more of a Warren kind of thing,
Yeah.
And obviously, you have Omega go down it. So she's starting to develop her character because obviously she's going to play a big part. And she is a natural warrior, she's not afraid. She's this giant creature that everyone else is that's just beating up, her father figure, and she's going after it.
Is that a little bit of naivety there, as what we saw before in the last episode? She's crouching down and going, "What's this?" And it's dirt. She's just, that's all right. I'll go and track it down. I've got his gun. This is what kids do, isn't it? They go, oh, all right, I'll put 2 and 2 together and I'll go off and I'll do something, especially teenagers. I think they're the best. But
I'm sure I was never like that.
But then also, she's got this sort of intuition that, hang on a minute, something's not quite right there. I want that. You're going for that, but I've actually got this torch and I can exchange, I can give you the torch and I can take the capacitor and nobody gets hurt. There seems to be, rather than the Bad Batch are rushing in there, they're going to go in guns blasted. She's more, look at the situation now. Oh, we can get round it through trade or negotiation or something like that. Like we're saying, has she got some sort of force sensitivity that she can sense that something can be resolved a certain way? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you had Ezra being able to connect with creatures, and I'm sure Kanan did it as well. So it is definitely a force power out there, to be able to connect and control. So I think I'm over 50% sure she is going to have some kind of Jedi power to her.
I know there's 14 episodes, but I think they're going to draw it out as much as they can for those episodes. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be little bits all the way along.
On the very last episode, it'll be like that boy with the broom, and at the end of The Last Jedi, where he just pulls the broom to himself with the Force. Yeah, just going to be something so little like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be cool. Like I say, this one was definitely filler. But, not a lot revealed in that episode. I think that was mainly all about the conscripts and Crosshair. And again, you had sort of like a feeling about Predator in that episode, with those hunting down the rebels, and the rebels are in the middle just blasting away. And then Crosshair's like that, and it comes up with the thermal imaging, and Crosshair's go bang, bang, bang.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, right, okay, this is quite cool. But, it's only subtle things. It wasn't blatant copying. But,
I mean, there was the mention of the clones being used to train up the enlistees.
Yeah.
Which has been mentioned in other media, Star Wars. I'm sure it was talked about that Rex was going to be offered a training position if he helped Callus.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting as well. So.
Exactly, but the other interesting thing is they said they were the Caminos were actually there. So there's almost 4 sort of different factions on this show. So you've got the Empire, the Bad Batch, you've got the Caminos, and then you've got the other ones.
Rebels.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so it's quite good that we're seeing, more than one, 2 sides like battling throughout the show. They're actually more of a complexity to things.
I mean, the Caminos. It's all about a contract for them, isn't it? They're going to lose if the Empire don't carry on buying their soldiers. They're out. They're in a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, exactly. and weirdly enough, they said we're running out of raw material. So they're now looking at making super clones. So that's quite interesting that they're like, right, okay, well, we've seen clones, now we're looking at super clones. And you're thinking, what's that going to be? Because, obviously Jango Fett's DNA's running out. And then they're going to be, it's like, wow, okay, well.
Are we going to get?
Oh, exciting.
Are we going to start seeing some of the work that I think they tried to do, the Force-infused clones? It's far out there, but if you've watched any of the Lego Star Wars series, you've got a clone called Jet. I think he's called Jax, and he's got Force abilities.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen any of that. I'm just going, okay, wrong with that. But
I mean, it's a strange, it's a crazy story that should never come into mainstream Star Wars, but could be fun.
But what's a super clone going to be if it's not, that you kind of think, well, Filoni looks at all this stuff and he looks to introduce threads of things like that, doesn't he?
And there's lots of stories about the Empire trying to clone Jedi.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of thought the Mandalorian might be a bit with them going after Yoda. Because obviously they used his blood to power the those droids. I can't remember what they're called now.
Dark Troopers.
The Dark Troopers. But I thought it was going to be a cloning type thing originally.
But ultimately, they were a bit naff, weren't they?
Yeah.
Nobody died to a Dark Trooper. It was like, the threat factor there could have been a bit better, couldn't it? Really?
Oh yeah.
Because Mandalorian just defeats one. He doesn't sustain an injury or anything like that. He just has a good fight, but you don't feel any real peril there.
He didn't even do it with the Darksaber, did he? It was his spear, wasn't it, that he used?
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's like I thought I think we've pretty much covered the Bad Batch for this week. But looking back at that last episode, there were a lot of characters there, and I thought, well, at least one of them's going to get killed off, but he didn't. And I bet he's really regretting not killing off Cara Dune. She's not coming back, is she? All right, she wasn't at the time, but if he had done that, it would have been like, wow, what an ending! You
needed that.
Off, but we've gained Luke.
Yeah, it ended up on too much of a positive note. Really, didn't it? You just needed that little, as you say, kill off one of the main characters would have been really good. But then she's this marshal, so she could be off doing her marshal duties, and she could be mentioned. It doesn't have to be a death.
And if you've been catching up on all the chat on the web, it's like, oh no, Favreau's got her back. Oh no, he hasn't. She's gone again, and all this sort of stuff. You're like, oh my God, this is just awful. I've given up with looking at quite a lot of those threads. It's just
and I tend to ignore all the clickbait out there, and I just wait for the new series and see what happens then. It's the only way we're going to know.
I can't wait.
One thing about Bad Batch that we didn't mention was Wrecker and his little
he's joke of the week.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We're gonna die. We're gonna be fine.
I mean, it was a great little sequence because you had the Wrecker wanted that food that Omega had.
Yeah,
he was going to take it if Hunter hadn't been there. Okay.
But it's good. It does show that they're not sort of it shows they're not domesticated. They're not thinking about everything. He's just treating Omega as one of them. So
Yeah.
she turns around and goes, "Oh no, it's all right. You can have that." And he's like, "Fine, you're not going to have it."
Yeah.
He's not thinking, "Hang on a minute. She's a little one. She needs to develop, and that she's in more peril than everybody else. I'm not eating food."
He's a true shot soldier. He never turned down a free meal.
Yeah. The weird thing,
but one thing that did concern me about Wrecker is that he started moaning about his head. He's this big guy, and he's moaning about just hitting his head a little bit. And where he was holding, I was thinking, is his chip about to activate, and are we going to get another crosshair thing?
Oh right, okay.
Happen?
Well,
obviously they never.
Yeah, that kind of fed into Aliens as well. The drop ship where they're going in. So there, hits his head like one of the guys in Aliens, and.
Oh yeah.
But also, I did notice his eye this week. So like his eye is there. He's just blinded in one eye, isn't it?
Yeah, he's kind of fogged over.
I thought it had turned up in its socket, but it was actually faintly drawn in. So it's like his eye, he's blinded in one eye, isn't it? So I'm thinking, maybe we're going to get a backstory about that, because that's not been explained yet, has it?
No. I mean, he's very scarred, but it's we've seen him just running headlong into enemy fire, swinging a battle droid around, so it's understandable. But yeah, it would be really nice to see some more of their backstory, because we haven't actually had that much yet.
Yeah, exactly. So so that concludes the Bad Batch, but there's also some other things on Disney Plus concerning Star Wars that have appeared. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a thing on there called Biomes. Have you tried to look at that?
I did, yeah. I mean, I saw this whole biome, and it showed the picture was of Luke's Island. I was like, oh, cool, we're going to get a documentary about all the locations that they used and that. Yeah, really excited about watching it. I was like, the wife even wanted to watch it, because and then we're sitting there, and we're like 5 minutes in, like, okay, when's the talking going to start? We're going across was it the desert, the first one?
No, it was Hoth, the first.
It was Hoth, the first one. Yeah, it was. I was like, okay, the droid coming across, nice. Yeah, that looks good. The title's transport,
enough, don't you? So you go.
Yeah.
So if you imagine a landscape like what's behind me, and then you seem to be in some sort of craft, slowly moving across the landscape, and then weird things just. Little things like there's a probe droid that comes past, and snow speeders just come off, and it's all. I think it's meant to be sort of like that fish tank kind of relaxing TV, and you're just going across the landscape, seeing little elements, and you're not there going, "Wow!" You're just
definitely
in out with that on the telly in the background. Do you know what I mean? Now, that's what I think it is. But
the Vader's Fortress one was really good. I did like that. You had the ties coming across, and that's awesome. But
some of it was pretty cool, but it was just like you're waiting and waiting and waiting. That's nearly 20 minutes for probably, I don't know what, probably a minute's worth of look, TIE fighters, look, attacks, wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Disney. They seem to love to do on Disney Plus. Obviously, my missus and boy are into Frozen. And they did something similar. I was like, they were like, it was cool, and it ended up just being a picture of a log fire, like 3 minutes. It just stayed on repeat.
Oh. The thing is, like, for a kid to sit there and go, something's going to happen in a minute, and nothing happens. You're like, that's got to be pretty disappointing, and it's got to seem like it's forever as well. Hasn't it? Like, where's the payoff here? Where's the payoff? It's just...
Exactly. I mean, I can imagine if you walk into like a shop or something, you've got that on a huge screen. Just it'd be awesome to walk into and to have it in the background. But yeah, they could
say the fish tank.
Yeah, exactly.
There's another one there. It's called Vehicle Fly-Throughs, and there's 2 episodes for that. Now, you start the first episode, and I think it's all based on Galaxy's Edge, the Falcon that's there. So you
Yeah.
get some external shots, and the camera sort of pans around it. And again, like you were saying there, I thought there was going to be some sort of documentary. And it's the outside shots are really good of the Falcon, and then it sort of goes a bit downhill. The graphic, because it's computer graphics, excuse me, and you sort of go into the Falcon. It's like a computer game. I was really disappointed with the Falcon one, and I thought, what?
Yeah.
I did not watch it till the end. I'm just like, turn it off.
After the Biomes one, I kind of just fast forwarded through the other, because I knew it was going to be something similar, so I just fast forwarded just to make sure that there was nothing I actually wanted to see.
But the second one was a lot better quality. So there, you board sort of go on board. Well, you go through the external shots to start with of a first order Star Destroyer, which I thought was really, really good.
Yeah.
And then when you go inside, the graphics there are actually top quality. And you go around and have a look at everything. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. They've worked hard on that one compared to the Falcon one. I was quite impressed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love that the one where they're at the viewing window. You see that in all of on all the movies where they're just standing on the bridge of the Death Star and out into space, looking out into space, and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, and once again, I think that's all about Galaxy's Edge, because there's a ride that takes place on a Star Destroyer.
Okay.
The thing, and you're going around on a car through this Star Destroyer and that. From what I'm told, anyway, and then you escape on the shuttle, come out of it while it blows up. So there's those ones, and so the third one is actually I thought was really good. So 4 minutes 35. It's a mini Simpsons episode starring Maggie Simpson, the little baby. And I thought that was really, really cool. There's loads of Star Wars characters and references in there. Not a lot of talking going on, but that was really, really good, I thought. And then go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say it was absolutely. I loved it because it brought in so many different cult things from Star Wars. You had the carbon freezing chamber for the timeout.
Yeah, that was superb.
Well, which was
that was going to be your favourite anyway, weren't it? Because that was a song.
Of course it was. It had Ahsoka in it. Ahsoka as this teacher putting the kid into the carbon freezing chamber to put him on the timer.
And then at the end they do the Star Wars rules, don't they? They do the rules, which was pretty funny. But what I really liked was the end credits where they were going through putting Simpsons characters into Star Wars scenes. Like you got Homer in the cantina rather than at Moe's Tavern, and there was things like that. I wouldn't spoil it all, but that was just one element of that. I thought it was absolutely really good. Good attention to detail there, really.
It was really clever, and I did feel for that BB-8. He got beaten up, didn't he?
Oh, he got stuck in the merch store. They all went, oh no. Ham wouldn't have liked that. I'd have been like, no, merch.
I mean, the only thing was obviously the unibrow baby. He had a proper lightsaber, and Maggie just extended the teat of her dummy.
Yeah.
Give her a proper lightsaber. Give her a chance.
Bit of rubber.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I could go anywhere for that one.
Yeah.
We'll bring that episode to an end. We'll leave it quite short this week. And we'll say, this is the way. Cheers, guys.
Mandos,